Young children, we'll begin with prayer. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So we have officially begun our holiday season now. So many celebrations we've been having. Diwali has just gone by. We all celebrated beautiful Deepavali. Then last weekend you all had Thanksgiving, and now Christmas is coming also. See, when we live in a Western society, we embrace all the beautiful aspects of culture, no matter what, as long as it brings joy and spirituality into our lives. But you know what's my favorite part of all of these festivities? One of my favorite parts. There's so much food. Have you noticed? For Deepavali, we cook everything imaginable. For Thanksgiving, you all would have had a feast, and then Christmas would be the same. This end of year season is a time for so much enjoyment. So much food and gifts, and all of these indulgences are coming. But sometimes we have to be a little careful. Because you see, in this spirit of enjoyment and indulging in all of this food and gifts and company and so on, what can happen? If we're not careful, then greed can begin to creep in. So what is this greed? Our Puja Gurudev, Swami Chinmayanandaji, had spoken about greed in this way. He said the tragedy of human history is decreasing happiness in the midst of increasing comforts. What does this mean? It means we can get anything we want. Nowadays, everything is available to us. But what happens? If our greed keeps increasing, then our happiness will keep decreasing. See, when we desire for something, when we want something so much, and that desire is fulfilled, we feel happy. But what can happen is we will want that thing again. We will want more of it because we will want to experience that joy again and again. And if we're not careful to watch our mind and say, no, this much is enough for now, we can have again next time, and we overdo, this sense of greed can begin to come up in us, that I need this thing, I want this thing, I want this so much because I enjoyed it so much before. And when we cannot keep our mind quiet, that greed, that desire begins to take away our mental peace, our ability to be calm in ourselves. And so we begin to lose our mental strength. It makes us weak. As we say, we become a slave to those enjoyments. And then we cannot even stop ourselves. Sometimes you'll know if mommy tells you, no, you can't have that anymore. You get so angry. I'm sure this has happened. Oh, you feel so sad. Why can't I have that? This is a sign that that desire for wanting that nice thing is becoming like greed, that it's bringing this negative emotion into me, that I become angry when I can't have it. And this can bring sadness into our life. See, a mind that is not so disciplined, when that desire is satisfied, we can only be happy in that moment. And then unhappiness comes again so quickly because now that sense of enjoyment is sharpened. And my appetite for it has increased so much. And if I manage to control that desire and say, no, not this time, what happens? I start to feel sad. I start longing for that thing. I feel unhappy. And that's if I manage to control that desire for myself. What if someone else comes in and controls it for me? And mom or dad says, no, you can't have it. Then I get disappointed, angry. It can bring so much unhappiness. This is what happens when desire turns into greed. And so we all have to be very careful during this holiday season that we don't let this happen to us. Enjoy what we get, but don't let it go so far as to take our mind away completely. Now there's a nice story that Gurudev gives in our Balavihar book. So I'm going to tell you all this short story about a little mouse who became very greedy and what happened to him. So once upon a time, there was a little mouse who was very, very hungry. He hadn't eaten for so many days. And so he went in search of a sumptuous meal that he could eat to his heart's content. And as he was going along, he saw a basket full of corn. And he said, oh, I love corn. So he went and he nibbled and made a little hole in that basket. He hadn't eaten for so many days. He had gotten so tiny and small. He made a little hole and he squeezed in and he fit through. And he started to eat that corn. And he was enjoying eating that corn so much. He ate and ate until his belly became so big and full. And he said, I feel good now. Now, I should probably go back to my family. So he went back, he found that little hole and he said, let me squeeze back through and come out of here. But to his surprise, he could not fit through the hole anymore. His tummy had become so big from all the food he ate. And so he started to cry, how am I going to get out of here now? One little rabbit was passing along and he saw the mouse crying. He said, what happened? The mouse said, I can't come out of here. I made such a little hole and now I can't fit. How will I get out? The little rabbit says, don't worry, buddy. It's okay. It's just because you ate too much. Just rest a little. Let your tummy digest. Let the food go and then you'll be able to come out. So he said, okay. Well, actually, I do feel a little tired from eating all that food. So let me take a little nap. So he took a nap. And when he woke up the next morning, his tummy was back right down, small again. So he said, okay, now let me go. But as he turned around to run away, he saw all that nice corn. So much was still there. He said, maybe I can have a little more. See, this is where greed comes in. Now that I've enjoyed it, I want more. But how much more? A little bit is okay. When greed comes, we take too much. He started to eat that corn again and he enjoyed so much. He just kept eating and eating and then same thing. Belly got too big. He couldn't come out again. He said, it's okay. I'll go tomorrow. See, when greed comes in, sometimes we don't do the right thing just because we want to satisfy that desire for that thing that we like so much. So he said, okay, tomorrow I'll go. Now he sat down to rest again. But this time, a cat was passing by. The cat smelled, that smells like a mouse. He went looking and he saw this nice big fat mouse in that little basket. What did he do? He grabbed him and ate him up. You see what happened? When we become greedy, sometimes it can get us into trouble. And like this little mouse, sometimes it can even hurt us or those around us. So we have to be careful how we engage these feelings. And when desires come up in us, we have to make little effort to say, okay, I can have it, but have balance when I'm having it. Keep my mind where it should be. Don't let it run off more and more and more. Mahatma Gandhiji used to say that there is sufficiency in the world to fulfill every single man's need, but not enough to fulfill even one man's greed. So, what's our moral for this story? let us not be like that little mouse. As we go through this holiday season and we get so many gifts and so much food and we enjoy, let us be careful to not let that joy turn into selfishness and greed and wanting more and more. Let us enjoy what we have, thank Bhagwan that we've gotten so much, and then say, okay, thank you, next time, no problem. And if the opportunity comes to share, we must share it also. That way we know for sure there's no greed. So this is our little message for the season that's coming up now. And I do wish you all a beautiful and happy end of year until we meet again. One more week of Balavihar and then we'll all be off for vacation. So enjoy, but remember, enjoy, but do not become greedy. Do not become selfish. In this way, we act in our best way for others around us, and Bhagwan will also be very happy. Hari Om. Om Shri Chinmaya Satgurave Namaha.